and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Wednesday, the 24th of January. I am Flat Cap Callum, and I hope you are all very, very well. All right, proper start to the week. Bonus video earlier, proper start now. It is Channel Meetup week for those Irish followers or people like Zach who have booked a flight and coming over too. So yeah, appreciate any effort anyone makes, whether that's they live in Dundalk or they live much further afield and are flying over just for the event. So yeah, declarations first stage are out for Dundalk. It doesn't look like the best Friday at Dundalk. First race currently 4:30, second last race 7:30. On paper, there might only be 3 of the kind of 14 run handicaps, but they've got to split one out. We'll see. So it's more about the crack really than it is about necessarily trying to win specifically at Dundalk. And when I did the last Channel meetup, it was horrendous. That is literally the worst day I ever had at Kempton. So yeah, try not to repeat that again. But it's Dundalk. It's hero or zero track. You either do really well or you do terribly. You don't really do much in between. So yeah, Channel meetup week. So Friday, Dundalk. Be there or don't be there. It's a free choice. So I shall be there. So just this week, I'm on tonight. I'm on Wednesday night, and then I'll be doing a Friday morning broadcast from Dublin, and then it'll probably be a Saturday morning broadcast from Dublin. That is the plan. Albeit Dundalk Friday night, looking at the racing for Saturday. Yeah, you can see where that might be a conflict of interest. So that's the current plan. Nothing on Sunday. Definitely not on Sunday. So that is the plan. So as far as today's vid goes, we've got to review Saturday, comment horse Monday, Tuesday bonus vid, golf from the weekend, and I think that's it. I've then got to give you Wednesday's bet. One bet, it is £9. I've done a Canadian, 3 double figures, 2 short ones in there. I had 6 on the shortlist, 6 races, and a couple of them had multiple horses in, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go with the 5. So I took out the real short one, and then left in 5. And then there's a couple of races. There's one other horse name in one of the races I am going to put out there for specific bookies. But I've left out the biggest price I could have put in. I was having some debate. I'm happy with where I got to, but yeah, £9 is all we got. 1 Canadian for Wednesday, and then I'll mention the golf tips for this weekend. They'll be in the comments of this video. 5 golfers this week across the 2 tournaments. I think we started with 2, then we did 5 last week. I think we had 7, so we're back down to 5 for this week. There was quite a lot on the short list, but some of them got nibbled in, and there was a couple. It's always the way at the moment. I'll write them out, and then before I get to this point of the week, then some of the high profile golf tipsters have them in their selection plan, and you just lose the point values. There's no point putting it in there. So yeah, I mean, I think I did that. What was that? 2 weeks ago? Was it Nick Taylor? He was the only one that placed, but lost point value of 70s by the time I put it up, but it was 90s earlier in the week. Anyway, that's that, and we'll do a rundown of stats and stuff. Okay, so review. So the review of last week, I mean, in general, there's different ways you can talk about it, right? So if I wanted to, I could talk about last week and say what a brilliant winner Stallone was. 6-1, great winner we had last week. We had Stallone at 6-1. That was our great winner of last week, and that would be true, slightly disingenuous. I could say it was a great earning week. I could say that, but that would just be a barefaced lie, wouldn't it? That wouldn't be true at all if I said that, because we lost money. If you lost money, you can't say it was an earning week, can you? Yeah, you wouldn't want to say that. Yeah, I mean, I could say I'm in red hot form because I had a winner on Tuesday. But that would be just Tuesday, wouldn't it? That wouldn't track back other days. So it depends on how you define red hot form. Anyway, the reality was it was garbage last week, wasn't it? Absolute garbage. We finished the week on minus 60 62.50, I think it was. It'll be in the description if I've got that wrong. Minus 62.50. We only had 2 weeks in 2023 that were worse than that from a total loss point of view. We had some bigger ones than that in 2022, but for 2023, if you compare, that would if you go literally over the last 12 months, that was the third worst week we've had. Pretty bad, and what made it particularly bad is the strike rate was off. The all weather before Christmas was doing its great guns, and then not been so good since. And there was a lack of jumps last week, and the jumps is what had given us some money before. So we had a jumps bet Tuesday. We'll get to that in the review, but I will flag to you for Wednesday's bet. It's 1 jumper, 4 on the all weather. I wasn't keen on the jumps for Wednesday. So Saturday, what do we have? Saturday's the Saturday's review. I mean, it won't take long, will it? No. That did place for, was it 3 or 4 bookies? So it counted for the channel, and I think that one placed for Sky, so it didn't count for the channel, but Sky users would have got a bit back. That was that. And then the combo double, we had Bailey's Warrior place, but nothing to go with it. So it was a lost day for the channel. I think it was 13.50 on 230 back, a loss of 11.20. I think that's what it was. So it ended the week, I think, minus 62.50. We'd had nothing on Sunday. We had Monday, I put up 2. One was a very early non-runner, so that didn't last very long. That left with 1, which is a bit of a risky one, I did say that, and it wasn't very good. So that was no good on the 1 comment selection on Monday. And then Tuesday, we had 4, put in 4 jumpers. And what did we have? The first one, Breha, and I'll get to the price movement, but that was 3rd. And then we had something Fox, I think something. It was one of the first one, Newbury, 235 Newbury. It was 5th, which Sky paid, no one else did, so well done if you were using Sky. Then we had 310 My Girl Katie, which was 8th of 16, and we needed top 5. Sky would have been delighted with 6th, but 5 for everybody else. And then the last horse, I can't remember, Rousey, something like that, I think it was. That was a really nice winner of the bumper. So it was a profitable day. So 9.50 on, 14.52 back, I think. It will depend on when you put the bets on, because the prices did move about a little bit. A lot of it in places. So I just was going to give a little bit of a commentary on that. So Breha, and I was debating, because I thought last night I was going to do a bonus vid, and then I had 5, and I thought 4 were likely to go in, and 1 probably would go into a point where I wouldn't do it if it was the morning, so it might leave 4 in the morning, and I thought 1 would drift. But the one that was going to drift with My Girl Katie, I felt like it was a drifter at 25s last night, and I thought it would get up to a nicer price. I've got 40s, I think, by the time we did the channel. 50s after the channel was uploaded, I think, for quite a few bookies. 66 possibly in places. Didn't matter, because it didn't make the frame. But I thought that would drift out, and I was trying to catch it the right time for that to drift and the others not to go in so much. But the others did go in a little bit. So Rousey, for instance, was 25s. Night before, 25s. It was only 14s when I did the channel, and it went off like something like 6s. And then Breha was another one where, ridiculous, but 365 put that up at 33 to 1, and I think it was still 33s when I did the video, even though it was only 18s for the channel, and then the price went quite quick. So anyway, I thought My Girl Katie was the right horse to wait to see if it was drift, but the other was nibbled in. It would have made a little bit of difference, because you would have got a better price on Rousey. 25s was the best price, as I said, but from a channel perspective, I think if I'd done the video the night before, I think 18s would have been the best I could have. It would have been the fair price to claim. Anywho, what happened with the prices on some of them? So Breha, this is how I would interpret it. So it was put up at 18s across the board, 33s with 365. I don't know what 365 were doing with that price. It was ridiculous. Just leave themselves open. And I do wonder whether what possibly happened in the market, because what happens with that Breha horse, we've backed it lots. it starts at a much bigger price and will get shorter. Now, the last 2 times it's run on jumps, it didn't do very good. And therefore I thought it would come in a bit, but it should never have come in the way it came in. So I think it went off something like 9-2, I think. And it was third. And it ran like a 9-2 shot that finishes third should do. But it shouldn't have been that price. I know this sounds ridiculous and some people don't care and some people sort of get this stuff. 9-2 was not, to me, the true price. That horse should have been about 9s, 8s or 9s. And it's not the type of stable where money comes for it, but money does come for that horse. But money only comes for that horse because it gets priced up wrong every time. And why does it get priced up wrong every time? Because it's a really exposed horse. Bookmakers protect themselves against horses that are unexposed. So you can find a horse with lesser form at a shorter price than something like that. So one of the angles I work with horses like Fairyhouse and a horse like Visibility, everybody knows about it, right? The form's there, loads of form, and you can look through it. But they run consistently, and they don't win very often. I think Fairyhouse might even be a maiden, but it runs consistently. Outside the last 2, I say that the last time at Dundalk when we backed it, it faded a bit. And the last 2 jumps races, which I think it got really stuck in heavy ground, if you excuse those, it runs really consistently over a variety of different distances on a variety of surfaces. That horse will always start out overpriced because bookmakers protect themselves. It will come in. So I'm hoping for some of you this is a helpful kind of lesson, musing if you like. But an exposed horse like that will always start bigger, come in a little bit. I don't think it was money that came from it. I wonder whether there's stuff in the markets because 365 exposed themselves so much at 33s. If people put down a chunk of money quite quick on that at that kind of price, they would then have to have offset their liability somewhere else, and therefore it makes a little bit of a run on the horse when other people are backing it, and then people are looking and going, well, hang on, this horse is getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and more people pile in. And I think it drove the price artificially short. And I know that sounds stupid because the horse was third and I think it was third favourite, which you go, well, that makes sense. But in a field size of that big, with a horse that exposed, that had run badly the last couple of times, it shouldn't have got to the price. And it's not a yard that would have punted on it to have won because it's not a horse that's won. So from a pricing up point of view, right, when bookmakers price up, they'll look at it and go, it's exposed, and they'll look at it and they'll say it hasn't won, and that means you get a much bigger price. Hopefully that makes sense, but it was too short. My Girl Katie, I knew it was going to drift because all the recency form was poor. It was coming back to a discipline and a distance and ground, although the problem was I think the ground got a bit too soft at Newbury, softer than I thought it was going to be anyway. Recent form was nothing, and therefore the bookies will price it up, but general punters won't be interested because they'll look at recency form. So recency bias is really important when you're trying to work a market, because there's always bias between a horse's last run, and you see it even with kind of your regular run-of-the-mill tipsters out there that put a horse up. They'll always talk about how the horse got on last time, but that's what everybody looks at, right? That's not being clever. Being clever is looking at the last 20 times the horse ran and looking at what's the optimum conditions or situation for that horse, or weight, or whatever it might be, or going through speed ratings if that's your thing. Not my thing, but that's other people's thing. So you go through those things. So yeah, you will find with My Girl Katie, it hadn't run well for ages. So most people are going to be put off. What I like about My Girl Katie was it was back in a discipline, and it actually ran in that same race, albeit completely different conditions. It was good to firm ground. It ran in that race like £10 higher last year and was second. Same jockey. So I think the ground got a bit soft on it, and it's not quite as good as it was a year ago, but I felt like it was a really good price. The one that I can't remember the name of, that just came in a bit shorter, as I would expect it would have done, because it's a Harry Cobden horse. It was priced up a little bit high, I think, and then it understandably came in a little bit shorter because people try and follow in the form jockeys. And then the last one, Rousey, that one was the one that I can't really explain. because early markets, there were some early markets who had it at single figures, and then last night it was a massive drifter like a barge. No one touched it. And often that is because you find that in a situation where a horse might be a non-runner the next day, or there might be some very clear insider knowledge saying there's something wrong with the horse. I can't understand it, generally speaking, because there was an unraced horse, I think, that was backed in, that ran under par, and that would have pushed other things out, but not to the extent of that horse going out to 25s in places last night, because on the form, I think it was fourth on its first run, and the other horses had finished higher placings. If you actually compare the quality of the race and everything else, it was about par. But my read of it was, if you watch back the race, that first time out, and again, I spend a lot of time watching old races to learn about future races. If you watch back that Rousey's first race, it was going so well in its first race, and it just sort of ran out of gas, as if like not quite there on the fitness level. It ran like a horse that was going to be running much better next time. So although its kind of performance level overall was on a par, it ran much better than anything else had run in that race previously. And so the price it went off at, I would say, which is about sixes, was about the right price. What I can't really explain is why it went out to 20s, 25 to 1 the night before, because it didn't make any sense to me. And the only thing I can think is, because it's a bumper race, most people weren't going to be looking at it. A bumper race with not much form. Your average punter won't go near that race and do much with it. And whether or not there was just a little bit of money going around for the others, and it got pushed out because it was slightly overlooked. But yeah, it wasn't like the horse got massively punted, I would have said. It was more that the price corrected itself through the day. I know that was a bit long and rambly, but I like to try and do these things, and I know at least if a couple of people have got some benefit, and it makes them, because the point here is not about, I won't be here forever. It's not my tips. It's about what I could impart on other people. And some people would be like, well, that's a bit dumb. You're just sort of giving away your edge. But I'm only here for a short time. Do you know what? Let's have a good time on the horses whilst we can be here. Yeah. So hopefully there's some interesting stuff in that ramble that was useful to some of you when making your own selections about bias and market moves and whatnot. Right, what was going to? Well, I haven't even done Wednesday's bet yet, have I? The golf last week was about break even. I think if you did it to letter of the law, you would have been 50p down. So we had a win first week on the golf. We broke even second week, and I would class last week as break even. So, but it had been one that got away to a degree, because Lee Hao Tong looked all over the kind of the top 5 leaderboard, and then hit bogeys. I think it was something like 14, 15, 16 or 15, 16, 17, something like that. Got picked up a birdie at the last, but he looked absolutely nailed on to be top 5. But then drifted. I think he was like tied 7th, so you got basically half the full stake for a place. So half of 125 to 1, so it'd have been like 62.5 to 1 place. That was enough to get the money back. And then the other disappointment was in Farmers. We had Siwoo Kim, who looked like he was on a nice little run and was going to get placed. And then I think was it the last 3 holes, something like that, bogey, quadruple bogey, six drop shots right at the end, cost him. So neither were going to win that. But the interesting thing about that Farmers, and I saw this unfolding, and there wasn't much about it in the sports news, and now there was a little bit more. But Nick Dunlap, who I wouldn't have gone near, only his 3rd or 4th professional tournament, although he's not a professional but participating. He's an amateur. He's only 20, second year of college in the US. So yeah, won the tournament, but doesn't get any of the $1 million+ prize money. Doesn't get any of the FedEx Cup points because he's still at college and he's an amateur. First amateur for 31 years to win a tournament, professional tournament. So fair play to that young lad. He's already US amateur champion. He's one that's definitely going to come into the ranks in the next year or so properly, and yeah, clearly going to be a talent. So that's that. Right. Should we do the bet? Here's the bet. Is that the bet? That's the bet. Yeah, that's Wednesday's bet. Here we go. All right, 350 Fairyhouse. I've left out that Chepstow race. I know some will be looking at that. It's big field race at Chepstow. Wasn't keen on anything, so I've left it. 350. I know people will be like, well, that's only 6-1. What are you doing, Flat Cap? Yeah, Goldhaven. I think that's the right call in that race. I didn't like anything at a price. So I'm going to go for a shorty, and hopefully we get a comfortable place out of it, if not a win. But I think Goldhaven is knocking around and we'll pick up one of these races at some point. So Goldhaven at 6s. Then the 4 o'clock Lingfield, 12 runners, 3 places, because there's a shorty for it, which is not ideal. But Forever Proud is overpriced. I wish I'd have got the opening price in places that opened at 40s, which would have been amazing. But I know it won't be for everybody, because Chancellor, I'm sorry, yeah, you'll have to bypass that and do it as a Yankee, because I know you won't be keen on the jockey booking. But I think it's overpriced. It should be more like 8s or 9s. So I wanted to have it in, but these classified races are donkey races, so I'm only looking at them where I can find a good bit of margin in. So I think that's worth trying. And then at Kempton, I've got 3. 6 o'clock Kempton, I've gone for Hayley's horse. So Hayley Turner, a few months ago, I was absolutely avoiding her because she was so out of form, and right now she's amazing. I think it's 43% strike rate in the last 2 weeks. She's something like that. 6 winners in 14 runners, something like that. She's in really, really good form. And I think that horse has got a nice chance at 16s. And the other one I was going to call out in there, if you get on quick and you are Paddy, Betfair and 365, I think I saw it. Outard Place? Prince? I can't quite remember the name. It's like AWTATTAD and then the second word P, white and light blue colours, 66-1. It's a really inconsistent horse, but on a going day, that horse could absolutely frame. I preferred Dagmar Run as a solider horse, but there wasn't much in that decision. For the channel, I don't think I could have taken 66s. I'd have taken 50s, and it's 33s in places. But if you get the 66s, that's a really nice little bet to try. Then 8 o'clock, Kempton, Renardo 16s, and then finishing off shorty, mostly sunny, 8:30 at Kempton, 11-2. 10p each way Canadian, 350p each way singles on the 3 double figure prices, no singles on the shorties, and then with 40p each way double on the 2 Kempton 16-1 shots, Dagmar Run and Renardo. £9 is your bet. It is an advantage to use Sky Hills or 888. They are the same place terms, which is 53434. Sorry, 53434. I think that's right. And then Paddy and Betfair are 53334. So Sky Hills 88 are the best. Paddy and Betfair next to best place terms, but Paddy you'll get bogged. So they are the best 5 bookmakers for this bet. That is it. £9 is what we're doing. And then a mention on the golf for this week. As I said, 5 golfers. It's this week. I was chatting on about it last week. This week, the American tournament is due to start on the 24th, which is Thursday. And we've got 2 golfers in that one, and one of them's a right biggie. You can get 500s with Sky, 400s in quite a few other places for 8 places. Peter Malnati. There's not many times I put up a 500 to 1 shot for the golf, but I think he's worth taking. So he's in, and then there's 3 in the tournament. Where is it? Is it Raz? I'm not sure. It's some. I don't. I can't remember if it's we're still in Dubai, or we might have moved to a different place in the Arab states. The European tour is still where the sun is right now. So anyway, I've got 3 in there, and I'm sticking faith. One of them I'm sticking faith with is Lee Hao Tong from last week. It's not in the staking plan, but it is not a bad bet to have a look at him in first round leader. Someone said about this, they backed him first round lead last week. I don't do first round leader bets very often, but I will say to you, I personally have backed him 40-1 first round leader top 6 places, because he usually starts fast. If he's on a good week, he starts fast. And the fact that you can get a slightly better price in places for first round leader as you compared to outright market, it was worth a little dabble for me. Not in the staking plan as a first round leader. I'm just putting them out 5 golfers, 5 same stake singles. So it's £5 advisory. But I'm for those that are interested, I think as a first round leader, it's not a bad bet in that tournament, particularly because a lot of the kind of the top stars from last week's tournament on the European Tour are either having a break or they've gone over to the States. So there's no superstars in the field who might start off fast that way. So yeah, I think he's a reasonable bet. I think that is what I'm going to do for today. I'll be back tomorrow for the last evening video of the week, because it'll be Friday, Saturday morning. We'll do the tips the league. Then it was close stuff in the tips the league last week. So we'll go through that. And I think that was all I was going to cover. Probably some other stuff. I'll leave it. I'll do it tomorrow. That's fine. You've had enough rambling off me tonight. Okay. All right. You stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.